As a channel that largely features higher-end guns, a misconception has developed that a gun must be expensive in order to be cool.
As if the exclusivity of price is what makes it cool, but that's simply not the case. The reality is, you can't buy taste. What's cool is cool, and that's not always because of the price.
So today we're going to show you some really cool guns, but guns that you can pick up without breaking the old bank. All right, everyone, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. And I'm excited about this subject matter today because I think that we're going to at least put some things in perspective to get you guys that, clear on the fact that price don't make it cool. And I could point out plenty of examples of expensive guns that are utterly hideous, but we'll try to keep it on the positive and not go negative with you. For the purposes of defining what is a cheap, cool gun, obviously we want to pick a price that we're going to kind of use as our cap. We're going to use $1,000 for that.
I think that's very fair.
I think it's very fair. Don't think we're clueless. I do understand that $1,000 could still be interpreted as a reasonably expensive pistol.
Yeah.
But if we say put a $500 cap on this, it's just like, what the hell are we supposed to talk about today?
I mean, there's just not many guns that are worth buying at $500.
No.
I mean, like, genuinely, you can get a couple of plastic fantastics that'll work, but like, there's just, you need to go up a little bit higher. And I think that when a lot of people do, like, I get a lot of DMs on Instagram, and people are like, hey, I'm looking for my first 1911, usually with me. My budget's $1,000.
Very common.
I think that's a fair budget that doesn't take a long time for someone that doesn't make a ton of money to put together.
Yeah. Well, and just going from, once you go 500 to 1,000, we got plenty to talk about. Right. So it's like, and I'm not even saying you have to go to 1,000. Like if I look at the list here, you go, shoot, most of this stuff is like closer to like $500, $600, $700.
Sure.
Is the truth. And so there's really not going to be much in the way of current, modern production guns. Just because it's like, look, a lot of times cool develops over time. And it's like, it's really tough for a gun to come out now and really be going, that is a cool gun. It's like, well, it might be cool in 10 years, but it's like right now it's just new and we can all go into a gun shop and get it. So we're not really going to be talking a lot about that. It's mostly going to be on some guns from the past. And again, budget guns.
Yeah, but if you're interested in things that aren't of a budget, you might want to check out Alchemy Custom Weaponry. That's the company I work for. Alchemy Custom Weaponry. We build badass, hand-finished 1911 pistols. We also have a line of double stack versions of 1911s. You've got a few. You like them pretty good. I've got a few. I like them pretty good. It'd be weird if I didn't. But, we are a classic Americana company. We build guns for Americans by Americans. And unlike the guns in this video, they're not cheap. I'm not even gonna lie to you. They're investment pieces, but guess what? Some things are. Some things you can get now for not a lot. Some things you're gonna have to pay for, and the craftsmanship of these guns you're certainly gonna have to pay for. So with that, let's talk about some guns that are gonna be less detrimental to your wallet and your financial position. All right, viewers, the first one we're gonna talk about is one that, I'll be honest with you, I slept on myself. I mean, there is actually a buddy of mine who collects these, and he would send me like new in the box, or new in the box guns, 3rd Gen Smiths, and he'd be like, look how cool this is, and I'd be like, I was like, who the hell collects those? Like, that's such a garbage gun. Then I got into them, and I'm like, oh my God, this might be, and I'm serious, this might be the most slept on gun ever.
It's truly not a bad shooting gun.
Like, this is the first time I shot it. Like, if I couldn't carry a 1911, I think I'm with this
They're growing
gun.
on me. And so budget friendly.
Oh my gosh. They are. And it's like so weird. It's like once you turn this corner, it's like everyone you look at is cooler than the last.
I know.
And then you're like, this is only how much?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, it's like the Pokemon. You got to have them all.
Well, and you can find some slightly, so if we're talking about the sort of DASA, which is not entirely true, some are just DA, but it's like, just kind of broadly speaking, Smith & Wesson, autos, or I guess whatever you want to call them, you can find great deals on these. I mean, they were so massively used by law enforcement agencies that you can still find tons of police trade-ins. Like, I'll give you a few examples here. So like this 5946, we've shot this, and this has been in a video, the one on your 5906 Performance Center.
Brother, that thing right there is slicker than dog shit. I mean, it's just absolutely really nice.
Which is not a cheap Smith.
Version. Yeah.
And keep in mind, there are variants of these from the Performance Center and things like that that are not cheap.
Sure.
But that said, you can get great ones that are cheap. The 5946, that was a police trade-in. I'm gonna, I guess what would have said price? YouTube's always a tricky place to navigate, guys. So these, like, you can pick these things up for like $300. And I'm going to avoid saying where and stuff like that. You just got to go with me, guys. Like, there's a reason that we word things the way that we do. But you can find these for like $300 on police trade-in. Pretty damn badass.
And that's, dude,
it's a great gun.
And listen, let it be known, I'm a handgun snob.
Yeah.
I'm just a handgun snob. And dude, when we shot that,
So, that is a very, for double action only, it's pretty damn stageable.
I think I visibly was like,
Oh, you were impressed.
oh my gosh.
Per what it is.
And I actually looked at that place and they were on sale for like $269.
Crazy.
That is absurd to me.
Crazy.
The gun ran perfectly.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, and I think it helps that I've gotten into revolvers as of the past year.
Yeah.
That DA only,
Very shootable.
actually pretty gangster.
Very shootable.
When I first got into them, I was like, DA, SED, so dumb. And I'm still a big single action guy, but man, that particular one is really cool.
It's really
and
good.
I don't think you've broke the $1,000 mark on any of these
Looking
guns.
at mine, so the last one that I got here was, there's first gen, there's second gen, there's third gen. We don't have time to really go through the whole massively complicated system there. You just got to do your own research on that. But the 659, that 3-digit model number is what indicates that it's second gen. That 659 is the last one I got. I paid $729 for that. The 4506, and this is in really good shape, to be honest with you, with the rear sight, like shroud and everything. That was like a really, so cool. And the ambi decocker for me, because they don't all have that, by the way. Some are just single side. The 4506 here is the most I paid. That was $900.
And what a good...
a beefcake of a gun.
A Dragoon, man.
You will find these with square and round trigger guards, so that's a thing to pay attention to. Again, this is like, Smith & Wesson did not make this easy on us back in the day.
See this thing.
Epic. Like, that's a 45. I think you can really get behind.
I'm buying one of these.
I think you can get behind this 45.
I'm buying one of these.
It's a badass gun. You might also remember on the Hunt for Gucci Guns Dallas, which at the time we're filming this, that video actually came out yesterday, I got that 6906 for 500. And that is down at Mark III right now, getting cut up. And what in the world am I looking at here? Well, that's interesting.
Oh, the magazine full plate.
I was like, what am I looking at here? Sorry, my base pad on my mag came out. But, again, $350, $500, $725, $900. That's what I paid for my 4 Smiths. And that's from second gen to third gen. Like, guys, I'm going to be as blunt as I can about this. Smith needs to bring this back. We, as a people of gun lovers, need to keep the pressure on Smith. They need to bring this shit back.
And I have it from a high authority that Smith & Wesson has at least considered it.
Guys,
considering is not enough. Considering is not enough. Genuinely, I'm telling you right now, and we've talked about this, I think they bring this gun back and give it versions with light rails and give you an optic cut. I think you're printing money.
That's a wrap.
I think the world wants this.
I think they do. I don't think that they knew they did until people started talking about it. And again, in the conversation that we've been beating the dead horse on, it's like part of the reason, let's be very clear, part of the reason that you guys aren't hearing about these is because these are not currently made, which means that influencers cannot get them for free. If they cannot get them for free, that means they must spend their money on it. And the amount of them, percentage-wise, you said 100% of the gun influencer market, what percentage of them are actively out there buying guns that they think are cool with their own money? Single-digit percentage.
Ain't none of them slapping down greenbacks. And I'm going to tell you something right now. This, as far as like from just I hate saying that word, influencer perspective with you and I.
Yeah.
This video we're doing serves no purpose for us from a business perspective. Nope. We're doing this because we love freaking guns. And
this is all bought and paid for
This is
stuff.
all bought and paid for. All of that stuff I've got because I have some of the stuff coming up. But these Smith & Wesson didn't send you that.
No, you can't.
You went out and bought that.
Yeah.
Right. And so like that goes into the whole thing of, man, gosh, you do it for the love of the game.
Do it for love of the game. I get it. We're I got to keep my lights on like everyone else. But you should be buying guns. Okay, that's it for DASA Smiths. We're going to move on.
Yeah, talking about Colts, baby. Yeah, I can't wait.
I can't do it. 1903, babe. I can't do it. That's the best I got.
Well, you don't try. Yeah, you go, oh yeah, Colt 1903. Yeah.
1903. Yeah.
Pocket hammerless. No hammer.
No,
to be
we
seen.
don't need no hammer here.
No snag.
Hammer, no. Okay, well, we're talking about Colts now. And so, and keep in mind, guys, there are many more models that can be discussed. Eli have some personal stuff inevitably he brings into the conversation, but really we're sticking to stuff that I have here. We're really not talking in theory today. We're talking in practical application, things owned. So Colt has obviously plenty of things from the personal list here. I feel like almost the quintessential Colt that's like a cool, cheap gun that's just badass is the 1903.
And they really are epic. I mean, they are gorgeous.
Yep.
They work. You could actually use one if you wanted. Like if you're like, hey, I need a nice little carry gun. Oh, you gotta fix that. Yeah, the little bushing issue there. Cool. And inherently they are inexpensive. I think I own like 7 or 8 1903 pocket hammerlesses and 1908s. And all my pocket hammerless guns, I only paid over $1,000 for one of them, and that would be the Novak. And that doesn't really count because.
And truthfully, this I paid $10.95.
Well, but that's also a little bit of an outlier too. But generally, you typically will keep that under $1,000.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, they are starting to go up in price.
Yeah.
They are starting to go up in price. People have kind of found them. They figured them out, but they're genuinely one of the coolest guns.
Just so cool.
They have so much history. I mean, we're talking from the earliest days of concealed carry. This was one of the first real concealed carry automatics in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay? We're talking about the First World War. Guns were carried. We're talking about the interwar gangster period. These guns were used. We're talking about the Second World War.
Yeah.
They were not only issued to generals, but OSS units used them.
Yeah.
We're talking about an extremely...
I think it went through like the 70s is when they replaced
1972 is when they replaced the general officer's pistol.
Yeah, which is crazy. Think about how long that run is.
And it's a quintessential John Moses Browning pistol.
Yeah.
Quintessential John Moses Browning pistol. The story of these is incredible. And I'm going to give you a little tidbit. This is the first gun in the patent verbiage that ever uses the term cocked and locked.
Yeah, cool.
How cool is that?
Really cool.
And so, when you talk about cool guns that typically are extremely attractive, and it really doesn't matter, you see a $500 one, you're just like, you almost feel obligated.
Well, this was, all said and done, this is about $600. Now, I bought this in the 1908, we'll talk about next, as a 2-gun lot at Rock Island at the auction there, but it's like averaged out between the two. Like, this is about a $600 buy. And it's just like, the thrill of that. Well, I guess you guys do. It was clearly illustrated.
Yeah. It was awesome.
In the video when I think I started throwing out MFers inside of the Rock Island auction, probably frowned upon.
Motherfucker, this is America, and that's what we do.
Look at that. Shit. Bro, I'm telling you right now.
That is like the steal of the day.
And I will say, the 1908s, the 380 version, is typically more expensive than 1903. They made dramatically less of them. I want to say it's like it's 430,000 versus 137,000. I mean, something in there. So it's dramatically less of them. And people tend to pay more for the 380 just simply because 380 ammunition is somewhat more common.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, the 32 though is my favorite.
Oh, it's so
it's still my favorite. So, like I said, I've never paid over $1,000 for a regular 1903, 1908. My Novak is the only exception. I mean, it was very expensive, but going into other Colt automatic pistols, the vest pocket, and let me tell you, another freaking sleeper, dude.
Sleeper.
Because we've been, and listen, I'm the worst at it. I'm the worst at saying like, don't have a small gun. But if you're gonna have a small gun,
it's badass, man.
Easy, right?
I don't actually think that was as easy as it looks. No, actually, yeah. Straight through.
Okay, clean. Okay.
And your dog is gonna be upset that their food keeps falling out. It's just, and you know what? It's one of those guns where I think that everyone ought to have one, and I had one just to check a box.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then you shot it.
When we started shooting them, I was like, am I going to actually carry this gun? And I did. That whole week.
Yeah.
25 yards here. Okay. But that's 25 yards of the gun with no sights and a 1-inch barrel. I can't believe these.
I mean,
these guns are so fun.
They really are.
And
they
not
really
expensive. Like,
and
this is
historic.
about the most fun you can have with a $500 gun.
Like, you know, and at the time that this video is coming out, our 1908 and 1903 videos are out, which are deeper dives if you guys really want to get into the weeds. But it's like, this is genuinely one of the more enjoyable guns to shoot that like you guys would grab. I mean, you'd be like, this is actually really fun and shockingly accurate at distances it's not meant to be accurate at. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And, you know, the cool thing about it is, like I said, you know, it's a gun that you can buy. It's elegant. It is classy. We go right back to, hey, just because you spend a bunch of money doesn't necessarily mean that's a sign of classiness.
No.
That's a very classy gun. Very, very cool gun to shoot. Very inexpensive gun to shoot, or inexpensive gun to buy.
Yeah.
Definitely a cool one. In my opinion. And like I said, a lot of history with those too. So the next one we're going to talk about, now this particular one shouldn't count.
Right.
And this, you know, we got a video, it's either out or not, but we have a video coming up where we're going to discuss things. But this is an advantage of kind of knowing something that the people buying the guns, or selling the gun, excuse me, doesn't know.
Which is funny because this was very easy to look up for anyone that wanted
absolutely.
to and that
So
just chose not to.
The Colt Police Positive. There's different versions. Obviously, like a Police Positive Special is going to be a 38. That's going to be a 38 Colt. So, you know, ammunition does come into a little bit of a play here because that ammunition is a little bit more niche.
Yeah, but you're not buying this to shoot.
No. Now, if you get the 38 Special,
sure.
I mean, that's a
fair
cool gun you can carry all the time.
You know, not a shooter.
What we're looking at, though, is premier Colt pre-war quality. I mean, that's just look at the finishing on that. Find another gun. You spent what, $550? Find another gun for $550 that's better finished and fit than this one. You literally cannot.
Yeah.
You literally cannot do it. These are beautifully made, and they're from a time when people had a lot of pride in American manufacturing. This gun right here is also one of those particular instances where you knew something that the other guy didn't, and you got a freaking deal. So, of course, this is the Railway Express Agency gun.
Bought on the hunt for Gucci Gun Salt Lake. So the funny thing is, 1903, that 1908, this all bought on camera in previous episodes of the show, you know? So it's like, this was a pawn shop in Salt Lake on the hunt for Gucci guns, with the episode where we had to buy a gun, which was a questionable decision. For some of us, it worked out great. For some of us, it did not. But you know, this was, and I got a factory letter from Colt, and it's like, this was basically, you know, the Railway Express Agency effectively was the FedEx UPS of the day for trains.
But the problem was, in that time, you didn't have currency via the internet.
Right.
Physical currency.
Right.
You kind of need to protect that.
On a railway. So you go, this was probably a guard gun on a train, guarding freaking packages.
It's just
badass.
So badass. And these guns trade for a lot more than you paid for it.
Like, I scored on them.
But again, it is a classic example of you getting so much more for your buck.
Yeah.
And honestly, a beautiful gun too. So then we go into another Colt revolver, and one that, if I had to have a snub, this would be the one to have. The Colt Detective Special. So this is, of course, you didn't buy this one. This was given to you.
Yeah, it was a family piece,
which is cool.
Oh yeah,
that's
great.
But these usually do trade for fairly reasonable amounts.
Sub-1,000.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Great little packing gun. You know, again, we talk about these old guns. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't use them.
No.
And, you know, this is a great gun to slip into the waistband or the pocket if you're going to a gas station late at night or what have you. 6 shots as opposed to the Smith & Wesson J-Frame 5. And just, of all the snub-nose revolvers, that's the best looking.
Yeah, and it's a great looking gun. I
think great looking gun.
It's fantastic.
It's exposed ejector rod. That's a beautiful gun. Again, one that you can get under $1,000 all day long, really without even trying.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and the Colt, and this will be my final thought here, Colt's one of those companies where you're investing in American history. It's the second oldest gun company in America. Okay?
Winchester, number 1?
Remington.
Okay.
So Remington is like the 18 teens. Colt officially started in 1836. We're going to get into some weeds. I don't want to, but you're buying a piece of American history. There was a time before there were so many boutique gun manufacturers, right, where quality makes it a Colt.
Sure.
You were buying a Colt, you were buying one of the best American-made firearms you could have bought. And this is that era. And so, truly, you will not find a modern production gun that's going to be as nice as this for that price. Just won't.
Guys, you know who else likes cheap, cool guns? This brown dog down here. He loves them. Sometimes he'll hit up National Armory, which is the other sponsor of today's video. He'll call him up, and he talks in grunts mostly, but he's like, hey, do you guys have any second-gen Smiths in? And they'll be like, oh, let me check. They're like, yeah, we got that. And Finn's like, cool. Like, I'm going to have my papa pay for it. Like, because apparently I'm his Sherpa that pays for everything around here. He hasn't paid tax since he was born, by the way. Different story for a different day. But National Armory, great shop. They're in the Pittsburgh, PA area. They've got new, old, they've got all kinds of stuff. They really are. Like, in our Hunt for Gucci gun series, they really are top tier and perhaps the best one that we've ever come across on Hunt for Gucci guns. And it was just such a pleasant surprise. That's really where Hunt for Gucci guns came from in its modern sort of context, because that's the first time someone bought a gun in the Hunt for Gucci guns. So we love the guys over at National Armory. Check them out. They got all kinds of fun stuff. And we'll go ahead and move on with the show. Okay, up next, we're kind of breaking this into sort of categories, manufacturers, where that makes sense. So next we'll talk about Beretta. And look, the truth is Beretta makes great guns, and some very iconic guns that I think are great pickups if we're playing about that price. I mean, if you were going to start with probably the most obvious that you're all thinking, just a baseline 92.
And you know, it's cool too, because you talk about buying history. Beretta's the oldest firearms manufacturer.
Is that right?
I believe so. 500 years, dude.
Oh, shit. I actually didn't
they're
know.
like OG. So like you're buying into like truly
some history. Well, and
cool
if you go get a 92 and they're like, when I got this, they're like, do you want to, you know, basically U.S. marked or Italian? Italian.
Italian.
Would be the correct answer there. So it's like, look, guys, yeah, you can go get the fancy 92s. You know, I've got like a couple others over here that are north of $1,000, but it's like, look, just a straight up 92 FS is a badass gun. It's a badass gun, man.
And you could be basically any action hero from any 80s.
That's what I'm saying. You know, so it's like, or you could almost go mini 92 with a cheetah. And the cheetahs are so cool.
Listen, I like these guns.
I love them.
What a cool gun. I mean, looks cool. You could pack it if you wanted to.
100%.
You know, got the lanyard ring, which I really love. Love that. Mm-hmm. Love that safety.
Yeah. And this is a police trade-in. This is a police trade-in.
This is nice.
It was a nice police trade-in. That's a 84 FS. But it's like, you know, between, you know, 81s, 84s and everything, and there's different models. You got to do your homework. But it's like, look, these are not expensive. And again, on a police trade-in, there's something about the police trade-in thing for me that has a certain sort of like romanticism. Because it's like, hey, this was issued to someone. There's something cool about that.
I agree.
Because it's like, I'm truthfully never going to use that for anything. So it's just like, hell yeah, I actually love the police trade-in portion of that. And it's clean.
I love that it's marked Cal 9 short.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Can't
just, it's obviously a 380.
Yeah, 380.
But dude, and what a cool gun.
Cool gun.
You know, and genuinely a good gun that if you were like, hey, I need a carry gun, kill two birds with one stone.
They're
that's
very
not
reliable. Not good capacity, all of it. You could dip into the vintage, and again, there's more options. I'm really showing you things that it's like, hey, right here, right now, we can show you some stuff. And I think the 418 has a charm to it that's just kind of undeniable.
I do. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it makes me feel kind of like the 1908 makes me feel.
You know, it's very 1908 vibes.
And it's just you know, even though this is kind of post-war, it almost has that Art Deco feel to it.
I think it's a very cool looking gun.
I love that. They're not always the best gun.
No, mine does have a quirk I need to try to figure out, but you know, whatever.
But they are really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Like, it could be a down and dirty pocket pistol if you needed to carry something kind of like the 1908 vest pocket. You know, they're cool, incredibly tiny round, you know, 25 ACP. But I picked that up for, what did I get that for? 600, I think. I think I paid 600 for it.
And this is a cool piece of, I can't believe I'm the one saying this, James Bond history.
Very. You know, I mean, that is, and again, you know, Caleb, if Caleb was here, this would turn into a 10-minute section about this gun.
Oh, that's
or
being
1
generous.
Section.
Yeah, that's being generous.
But it's like, you know, this is basically the OG James Bond pistol, and I'm not shy about saying that pop culture steers a lot of what I find cool in guns. And it's like, yeah, that is the OG James Bond gun. It's like, look, at ridiculous concept that a spy would be carrying that, but it is what it is. It's a cool gun.
It's cool. I'm eventually going to get one of these myself. I really like them. I think they're cool. I think genuinely, it's like, right, I'm the big 1911 guy, right? But like, Beretta's a cool company.
It's a great.
It's a cool company.
So, like I said, there's other Beretta options, but here's a few. And that said, we will move on.
All right, so this wouldn't be a cool video without talking about one of America's, and we got some variants too. But the America's first, and I actually, you know what? I'm going to say the first iconic handgun, the Colt Single Action Army. This one, obviously not a Colt, because if it was certainly wouldn't be on this cheap gun, cheap cool gun video. So, a little bit of backstory. The world of Westerns really drove the kind of cowboy gun market in the post-war era. We just came back from kicking some Nazi ass, and we were like, hell yeah, Manifest Destiny, America, you know what I'm saying? And Westerns became very popular. What also kind of followed with that is there was this segment of Westerns, spaghetti Westerns. Mm-hmm. They had to go overseas to Italy, that's why they call them spaghetti Westerns, and one problem they ran into was, man, they're struggling to get American cowboy guns. So actually there were some Italian companies that came up to make guns for these spaghetti Westerns, and those companies honestly have become very difficult to say, hey man, I'm not trying to tell you not to buy a Colt Single Action Army, but I'm saying that these aren't a bad...
They're pretty undeniable.
They're not a bad way to go.
For what they are.
No, and honestly, every single of these Italian reproduction single actions, you have obviously the Remington there and the 51 open top there, but all of these guns have been actually of very good quality. I mean, like
amazingly,
amazingly. Finish is beautiful. I mean,
truly,
both of all three of these guns are gorgeous. And you've got a couple of people who bring them in, and people have brought them in over the years, so you might see them stamped one way or another, but most of the time they're going to be like a Uberti or Pieta, something like that, and they're going to come under, like Stoger used to bring them in back in the day. They may still do. The two companies you and I like a lot are Taylor's and Cimarron.
Mm-hmm. Both
those are Taylor's.
That came from Cimarron. So Cimarron will do. They do. Again, I admit my nerdiness, but it's like they do the whole lineup of the basically the movie recreation guns. So that one is the Man with No Name is what they call it, which is basically Clint Eastwood's gun from the Dollars trilogy with the silver snake and everything. Like, it's just epically cool.
Yeah, and it's
super cool.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, funny enough, he actually used a 51 Navy in The Good, the Bad, the Ugly.
Yeah.
And then the later ones he uses a single
fistful
action.
of dollars.
Yeah. So kind of an interesting little fact.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like here it is. Like, I genuinely think you should aspire to have a real deal Colt Single Action Army.
Yes.
And now that you have one, I think you agree with that.
I'm in the club.
However, I am not an idiot that says, oh, you don't have a Colt Single Action Army? Or, like, you're poor. No.
There's a barrier for entry there.
These are great guns to have. They're great guns, and you might get a investment grade single action. Mm-hmm. You don't want to shoot it. Man, I would carry, shoot, ride a horse with. I mean, this is a gun you can really enjoy and makes you feel like you're a part of the American West. Here's the deal. All Americans have innately inside of them, Europeans, you don't get this, manifest destiny. When you cross the Mississippi, and I'm a long-time Southerner, I thought nothing will ever make me want to move out of the South. You cross the Mississippi into Utah, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Arizona, all of those states, you think, I was born to ride a damn horse, 40 acres and a mule, single action. Like, that's what America's about. And that's our uniqueness that we have. No other place in the world has. And what helped forge that path?
That bad boy.
Single Action Armies, 51 Navies, Remingtons. It's just something you want to be a part of. And I get it. It's expensive to get a real Colt.
Got it. Understood.
Under $1,000.
Yeah. Look, I had that before I had my actual Single Action Army. I had these, and you know what I want now? An actual 1851.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to have the real deal now. But it's like, get in the game. That's the point of this, to say, look, this cool gun thing doesn't have to be expensive. It's like, these are badass guns.
Such
that
badass
are like
guns.
$600-700.
And the cool thing is, you can get these in affordable calibers. Because that, to me, the biggest thing about cowboy guns, about six guns, that's just eats me up, is that it's dramatically more expensive to shoot them. 45 Colt, not a cheap round. 44 Special, not a cheap round. 38 Special, even, not a cheap round. All of these companies offer, and I can't believe I'm becoming an advocate of this, 9mm options.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, like if you want to go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Some 38 Special.
38s?
Easy.
Easy stuff.
Easy.
You know? And then if you think to yourself, most of them are rated for 357.
Right.
So if you think to yourself, man, you know what? I might
down.
smoke a Desperado.
Yeah.
357 in there.
Yeah, send it.
And, you know, it's just one of those things that it looks good. You looking at this from until you get really up on it, you don't know that's a reproduction. You don't really know that's a reproduction at all.
No, not at all.
You know, and man, they do a good job with it. Fit and finish, both Cimarron Taylors. They import these, and I'm sure there's others, but those are the two I really like. Man, it's a good opportunity to get a gun that makes you feel something.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to talk about the opposite of good guns. Okay, up next. So not all cool guns are necessarily good guns. There are guns that are cool that are absolute shit, but that doesn't mean that they're not still cool.
I agree.
I happen to be into some shit subguns, you know, and it's just kind of a thing that I appreciate. So to give you a few, so the Cobra M11 down there, bought that on the Hunt for Gucci Guns Pittsburgh. That was really, as we were talking earlier, kind of when the Hunt for Gucci Guns kind of took on a life of its own, because it went from just looking at cool stuff to actually like buying stuff on the trail. And I think I got that for like $900 if I remember right. But look, it's a piece of shit. The gun didn't work at all. The feed ramp, I had a gunsmith look at it, we took it apart. Instead of the feed ramp being at an angle, right, so that a round can chamber, it was just flat. So a round would just hit it. Like literally, a round would just hit a wall and couldn't feed at all. And so they literally had to bend this piece of sheet metal in there so that it was an actual ramp.
And it was sheet metal.
Inline stovepipe. Two rounds. Damn!
Utter piece of garbage, but you can't tell me that it's not cool.
Oh, I mean, it's
cool, you know, and now in theory it kind of sort of works. So at some point I'll have to get a real one, because the transferables are obviously not cheap, but cheap for a transferable.
they're a good way to get into a transferable.
They really are. The Tech 9, like, I mean, look, it's even worse than the Mac.
Oh, this is like synonymous with junk.
The worst. I mean, like the actual worst. It doesn't really work at all. We've got videos on all of these that you can go find that will give you evidence of that. And yet there's something about that gun that screamed, I have to have that. You know, I need this piece of junk in here. And then one more I'll tell you that is actually, in all fairness, not a bad gun at all. I would actually tell you it's a really good gun, but it just sort of needed a place to go. So this is the section where it went, is the VZ61 Scorpion. Now these really are a cool gun, made in 32. They do have some 380 variants, but you can do parts builds on these, or you can get them, you know, pre-assembled. But still, we're talking a sub G, and that's actually a really good, enjoyable, fun gun to shoot. Like I actually really have a soft spot for the VZ61. I'd like to have like a fleet of different style builds on those, and you can thread them. They suppress well. I mean, it's just actually a really cool ass gun.
Well, and for you especially, this is a perfect like pop culture gun.
Oh yeah, epic. You know, it's Pollux Troy's gun for anyone that you know, wants to dig into the weeds of the VZ61s. But hey, look, those are, again, not good guns, but they are cool and they are cheap. And let's gotta admit, we gotta be trashy here and there. So there you go. Next, moving on. I'm going to chip and crumble. I'm getting a box of 4 from each. Oh, they'll be gone by the time the weekend's done. 24 hours. Yeah, he'll probably eat 1 or 2. I can take down 6 to 7 solo.
You're shitting. Holy crap.
Yeah, like I live on the edge.
So there are, obviously we did categories, and we'd probably be here all day if we started going manufacturer by manufacturer, talking about cool guns that are under $1,000. But we kind of want to talk about cool guns that are cool and they're under $1,000, but they're cool because there's a lot of them.
There's a ton of them out there.
A classic example, and one that, you know, is just freaking sick. The FN/Browning A5, or for the American market at that time, the Remington Model 11.
Yeah.
Epic shotgun.
Yes.
Epic shotgun in almost every variation of its existence.
Yeah.
Let's say you need a good field gun. Boom. You need a good gun for, debauchery. Boom. It's just one of those things where it's sexy. God, that's a sexy looking
This one's
gun.
completely stock.
I mean,
we haven't
John,
altered this one.
and John Moses Browning, this is another classic John Moses Browning design. Beautiful guns, and if you get them early enough, you get a lot of that pre-war craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, even that gun being beat up, you'd be hard pressed to find
it's
a
so
better
badass.
finished shotgun for the money.
By the way, I'm very shocked and thrilled that you guys actually really rallied behind that video on that Whippet gun. By the way, it actually really didn't see that one coming. I thought that was going to be a waste of our time. Anyway,
no, it's great. Another good example. I'm going to stick with shotguns for just a second. The Winchester family of shotguns, early Winchesters, 1897s, an epic shotgun, and it has a lot of history from cowboys to the First World War.
Yeah.
Epic shotgun, and definitely a cool gun. And I'll be honest with you, for under $1,000, you could almost get your trench gun. It obviously wouldn't be correct. I've got a trench gun that I had made because real trench guns are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're rare to find a real one that's not altered or that's not fake. But you can get your, if you're like, hey man, like I've seen my death and it's in the trenches of Flanders fields, it's like, hey, you can get that made pretty easily. Model 12, wow, what a great shotgun. Slick action, very, very cool classic Americana shotgun. Definitely one. Ithaca Model 37. These are really cool guns that don't cost a lot of money, have a lot of history, and I promise you, you pull out Winchester Model 12, you pull out Mossberg 500. Guess which is the cooler of the two? Every time the Winchester Model 12. And that's not to say the Mossberg isn't a good gun, but it's just not a cool gun.
Yeah.
And, another classic example, and this is probably the most classic of examples, the Smith & Wesson Model 10. I hear people all the time, and they're like, man, I want to get into six guns. Where do I start? There ain't many places better to start than the Smith & Wesson Model 10.
So heavily produced.
So many different barrel lengths, so many different variations, and they've been produced pretty much unbroken since, I think, 1899.
Yeah, it's like right at the turn of the century.
Obviously not known as the Model 10 then. The model number designation came out in, I believe, 1957, 56, 57, somewhere in there, late 50s, mid to late 50s. So, obviously it had different names before then, so make sure you do that. But, dude, you can get, like, a boxed pre-Model 10 for well under $1,000.
Yeah.
Under $1,000.
Yeah.
And that is one of those guns that's like, you could absolutely use that like as a defensive gun if you needed to.
We will probably, because it's on my list of things to get, and it's like, you chip away at your wants list, as opportunities come. But that's one that, like, as I get one and you've got one, like, we probably will do a dedicated video on the Model 10, because it's just, it's not that it's the craziest gun of all time. It's just that it's an important gun. It's been around forever. It's so heavily produced that it's just like, that gun needs to be discussed.
Well, I've got 3 Model 10s. I've got a real gold-plated Model 10.
Yeah.
I've got a hand-engraved Model 10. Technically pre-Model 10 on that one. And then I've got a brand new production Model 10 no lock, because they reintroduced the no lock guns with Model 10. And none of those were over $1,000.
Yeah, badass guns.
And it's like, you tell me you can get a gold-plated gun? You know what I mean? And so, like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's truly, like, just because you spend a lot of money on guns doesn't mean that they're always going to be cool.
No.
You can find really cool guns. And, man, people send me pictures of their Model 10. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool gun. But there's so many other guns, in the world of firearms that are that way. FN 1900. I've never spent.
That's what you just got, right?
Yep. I never spent over $700. I've got 2 of them, and that's a freaking epic gun on so many different levels, because it's like the very first pocket automatic, one of the first John Moses Browning automatic designs. Classic story between him, Colt, and FN. The gun literally was so popular in Europe that people didn't even call it an FN 1900. They just called it a Browning. And they're epically cool. Teddy Roosevelt carried one as president of the United States?
I
Did Teddy Roosevelt carry a Glock 19? I don't think so. He carried FN 1900.
You damn right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to have badass. Now, we'll say on that particular one, they're a little harder to find, but the hunt is part of it. And I'll tell you, man, like, you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a badass gun.
No.
You don't.
Yeah,
You
break
do
the mold,
not.
guys. Like, you know, it's the campaign of the year. I think of our 1911 Syndicate content typically in like 1 year chunks. It's almost like, hey, this year is like a season. And, you know, the season for 2025 became Make Guns Fun Again. And that's everything that we've really been leaning into. You can't do that on every video. It's like sometimes you got to cover some modern production stuff that makes sense to cover, whatever. But you get the point. It's just like, hey, we're here to show you cool stuff. And within that, it's like you got to get out of that mentality that because it was expensive, it's cool. It's not. There's expensive pieces of shit out there that are simply not cool. Like, cool is cool. That's cool. That was $400 or something.
You've got like nothing in that.
You know, so it's just like, guys, that's what we're trying to beat the drum of today. The 1911 Syndicate, I get it. We feature a lot of expensive things, and sometimes expensive things are cool, but they aren't always cool. So as someone who's almost like kind of a ringleader of the expensive guns, sometimes it's like, hey, let's break the mold and let's bring you some cheap, cool shit today.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, listen, last thoughts here. Understand that just because today these guns are cheap, that doesn't mean they always will be.
Yeah.
We've already noticed a trend since, and I'm not trying to say that we're part of that reason, but since you and I have started really hitting and beating the drum, things have started to creep up.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Things are starting to creep up in value. So understand that, you know, things ebb and flow in price and value, but the guns that we've listed, the guns that we've shown, I don't think you'll ever lose your money if you buy smart now.
Nope.
Because here's the deal. They ain't being made no more.
Nope.
Many of them are not being made, and even the new production stuff, like a Model 10 that's being made today, cool gun, get a factory support with the warranty, guess what? It's never going to be as valuable as an original Model 10 or a pre-Model 10.
Sure.
So definitely buy smart now. Kind of goes into that gun collecting video we've done where it's like, these are kind of a little bit investments, but not crazy investments.
All right, guys. There you go. Happy hunting. Hopefully you guys found some things that you think were cool that maybe enter your list. Anything else? We good?
I'm good.
Wrap it up. Okay. The boys here are hungry. Your boy
Pizza
here hasn't had carbs in a month. So I'm going to be an absolute fat piece of shit tonight. You will be shocked and equally disgusted about what I'm about to do tonight to some food.
The cookie thing did shock me. I'm excited for the pizza though.
I'm going to fucking send it. I'm going to go get after it. See you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.